what is going to be the launch lineup for the Nintendo Switch Successor? I feel like it's okay to speculate, right? An educated guess. Why do we leave it to people that don't play video games like Michael Pachter? Like, I don't understand why we ever even gave that man a sense of authority on something like this, when really, truly, it should be for the hardcore gamers that are constantly paying attention to trends, development studios, and thinking about how long they've kind of waited since the last announcement and stuff like that. So I'm going to be doing some guesses as far as what we expect to see within the first 6 months of the Nintendo Switch Successor, and I'll give you reasons as to why. So something I think will be a launch day title. Launch day, day one, is Metroid Prime 4. I think that's going to come out on Nintendo Switch. I think it's going to co-launch on the Nintendo Switch Successor. We've seen this in the past with things like Twilight Princess, which was originally on the GameCube. It was announced for the GameCube, but then the Wii came out and then it launched simultaneously on the GameCube and the Wii. Same thing happened with Breath of the Wild. Most people forget this, but Breath of the Wild is actually available to play on your Wii U. But it's a day one launch title for the Nintendo Switch. So with that in mind, I think that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond will have a better version that we haven't seen yet that will be on the Nintendo Switch Successor. I think that all the footage that we've seen up to this point, as gorgeous as it is, was literally Nintendo Switch footage. That way it doesn't make people kind of speculate. It doesn't make people think that it's not going to come out for the Switch. They said it's coming for the Switch, and I do believe that what we've seen so far is the Switch version. Now, with that in mind, I do think there's going to be a version that's going to come out on the Nintendo Switch Successor on day one. But Metroid Prime, Metroid in general, that's really meant for like the hardest of hardcore Nintendo fans. It's an amazing franchise. I love it to death, and I'm super excited for it. But I know that that's not the game franchise that's going to push consoles. And I think that Nintendo has become more calculated than ever before. We've seen this now with the Nintendo Switch. And so with that in mind, what else could there be? And I think that something that we might see within the first month or first 3 months of the launch of the Nintendo Switch Successor is an exclusive re-release of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD. Fans have been clamoring for this for a long time. It's very buzzy on social media. I am sure that Nintendo is very aware of this. I mean, the fact that we get all these other Wii U ports, but not these two that people have been clamoring really hard for a very long time, something tells me that they've been holding this to their chest for a reason, and that reason is to add value to the Nintendo Switch Successor. So I do think that that's going to be something that we also see very early on. Maybe not day one, maybe we will. It's possible, it's not possible. It's somewhere in the middle. I think that it's something that is going to entice people, but it's not going to, again, push console sales. So what is going to be the thing that pushes the console sales? And what I think will be the game is the next 3D Mario game. Think about it like this. Breath of the Wild was a launch title. It comes out, it's successful. They work on a sequel, takes a very long time. It took like 6 years, I think. And it comes out all within the Switch's lifespan. Meanwhile, Mario Odyssey has not even had so much of an announcement since that release, as far as what the next game would be. So we do know that those games are in development. We got Mario Wonder eventually, that came out and came to be, but there's also been an official word that Mario games are in development. And I am absolutely certain that the next 3D Mario game has been cooking this whole time. And I think that they've been waiting to show us anything about it because it's going to be within the first 6 months of the Nintendo Switch Successor's release. And I think that when the Nintendo Switch Successor gets announced, you will expect to see a trailer for the next 3D Mario game with it. And I think that that will be the thing that will really excite people and get people out to actually pick up this new console. I also think that possibly we might get an announcement for Animal Crossing, at least within the first year. It might not be with the announcement of the console, but I will say that that's possible. And I will also say that I feel more certain that at least within the first year of the launch of this console, that one of the trade show events we will get an announcement for the next Animal Crossing game. So those are all the games that I think will actually come out after the launch of the Nintendo Switch successor. I think it's going to be Metroid Prime 4 Beyond as a launch title, day one. I think that the Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, HD games that people have been pining for will finally show itself, be released. I don't know if it's going to be put together or separate, but I feel like that's going to happen, and I feel like it's going to happen early. Maybe not day one, but within like the first 3 months of the console's launch. Then we got 3D Mario finally announced, and I think it's going to release within the first year that console is released. And then Animal Crossing is going to be something that is at least announced. I also think, before we close off this video, I also think that possibly a new Smash Brothers will just get an announcement. I think it will get a "we are now in development" announcement. Will it be something that has footage? No, it could just be a teaser. But I think that at the very least, we're going to get something that tells people there's value to this console. You should pick this up now. And there's going to be these incredible franchises that everybody is always looking forward to coming very, very soon. And then outside of that, I think we got to wait for a little bit. I think that there's a possibility that smaller titles might come out, but we definitely got front loaded with those with the end of the Nintendo Switch. So it's hard to say if we've just kind of pissed away all of the smaller handheld like experiences like Echoes of Wisdom and MEO and Brothership, like all those smaller titles, I think might have just been absolutely unloaded into the tail end of the Nintendo Switch, which I think was brilliant, by the way. We've never had such a great wealth of decent games in any Nintendo console I've ever seen. So big kudos to Nintendo Switch for that, instead of holding off and keeping all developers locked in for the next console. I feel like there's probably a good spread around that is happening amongst all the different game companies, and yeah, we're seeing a lot of investment from Nintendo that we have never seen before in terms of game studios and keeping the flow of games very active. With that said, though, it might be a little bit of a slowdown, but with bigger, heavier AAA choices once the Switch successor finally comes out. That just remains to be seen. I am constantly surprised by Nintendo this generation, though, so, you know, we'll see what happens. The one last thing that I will say is probably Pokemon Company will throw their hat into the ring. They throw out releases fairly frequently, and it wouldn't be surprising to me if we get the big mainline Pokemon game possibly within the first year of the Nintendo Switch successor as well. And if not, you know, if they're changing their business philosophy and actually putting a little bit of extra time into their games, year 2 at least, I mean, I feel like that's a guarantee. Okay, well, anyways, those are my predictions. Let's see if Michael Pachter can do any better than me. Who even pays attention to Michael Pachter anymore? Who even knows who he is anymore? I'm sure younger generations don't even know the name. But, like, yeah, this is my game analysis for the next console generation for Nintendo. Tell me what you think about these predictions and whether or not you felt like there was some good logic behind these choices. I'm just curious to see if there's anything that you guys are predicting that maybe I didn't think about. Fire Emblem, maybe? Did I just spoil it for you? Or spoil it for myself, I guess? Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Hey, if you could subscribe, that'd be super cool. Also got a podcast if you're already subscribed. We keep putting out weekly episodes, and I feel like it's a fun time. So if you want some more of me and my opinions, we got the podcast down below. Sorry, the laugh was me thinking, like, who wants to hear this much of my opinions? I feel like we need it in small doses. All right, guys. Anyways, thanks so much and take care.